Today I'm going to be breaking down how you can use super witches with the fireball here at Townhall 16 to 3-star any base. So here is the strategy we are going to be jumping in to take a look at today. It's pretty simple in the way that we're going to be coming in with a grand Warden walk with those healers. We're then going to be bringing in the fireball from him, progressing through into the super witch portion of the attack. So let's jump in and we're going to look at the types of bases we're going to attack with this and how we identify where to enter. So the first one we're going to be jumping in to take a look at is going to be this base in particular. Now, when you're coming in with these super witches, typically you're going to want to come up against bases that have multi-target infernos. If you see those single target infernos, yeah, they could potentially cause you a few more issues. They can lock on to your big boys that are of course summoned by the super witches. So ideally what you're looking out for is going to be those multi-target infernos. This isn't to say that the super witches won't work on single target inferno bases, but it will make your life slightly more difficult. Now, when it comes to entering a base, typically you're going to want to enter your Grand Warden from a corner and progress him through onto a flat side of the base. Now, when it comes to choosing a portion of the base to use that fireball on, typically you're going to look to get a portion of the base where you're going to take out multiple high value defenses. These include, of course, the monolith being one of the most important to take down. Things like multi archer towers here. The scatter shots, of course, really important as well, and even including things like spell towers and the clan castle itself. So on this particular one, we're actually going to be coming in from this bottom section of the base, and yeah, we'll just go ahead and we will play it. Of course, the equipment on the Grand Warden is going to be that fireball at level 21, and we're going to be bringing that rage gem as well. The other equipment is totally up to you, but for me, the rage gem is definitely a really strong equipment when you're coming in with a Grand Warden walk. It helps to boost those healers, it brings up his DPS, and overall it's a very strong piece of equipment. But you can see what we're doing, just starting off with a little bit of funneling down here, clearing out a couple of buildings, making sure we've wiped out enough defenses that we're going to push our Grand Warden into the direction we want him to go. Then what we're going to do just before we fire that fireball, we're going to make 1, 2, 3 sections of defenses invisible. Now basically what you're looking to do here is make all the defenses that the fireball would target invisible, so you can then go ahead and get that fireball into the section of the base you are looking for, which for us is going to be that middle section where you can see we're then going to drop down the double earthquake spell and we take down multiple buildings here, including that clan castle. We also get some beautiful damage onto the town hall, and it helps to create a really strong funnel. Now, once you've done this, you need to be very careful that your Grand Warden doesn't walk in the wrong direction, because we want him to come around to this flat side of the base right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, let him just move on, make a little bit more progress, start off our troops with that super wall breaker first, gaining us access into that first compartment, and then we're going to be using those super witches with the rest of our troops to push right into the core. Now, of course, we do need to create the funnel on the opposite side of the base. That's very important as well, and that funnel is going to be created by our queen with the frozen arrow and the healer puppet equipment and the siege barracks. They are going to be coming in over here and they're going to be doing their job just to help create that funnel, because of course the main goal here is to push all of these super witches, all 4 of them and their big boys, right into the core of the base to get maximum value from our spell usage as we progress on through. The queen, she is always going to do a really nice job because most of the defenses are going to be tanked for by our troops in the core of the base, so she can actually do a lot of sniping work around that edge. Now, King's ability, you guys can see it's going to be popped off right there. We have the giant gauntlet as well as the earthquake boots. Now, for me, those earthquake boots are an absolute necessity when it comes to this strategy. They make it really powerful because, as you can see, you can use those earthquake boots right in the core of the base, and it means you basically don't need a jump spell. You can use that first super wall breaker to gain access, you can then even use a second one, and then that King's ability is going to go off as you reach into the core of the base. That is then going to allow you to just smash through everything. Queen, alongside all of those siege barracks troops over on that right hand side, doing a fantastic job. You'll see we have super minions actually coming out of the siege barracks, is a really strong and viable choice. Those are going to be able to shoot from a distance, take out multiple defences and other buildings. You're then going to have the Royal Champion swing around on the back end just to help. Typically the Royal Champion is going to come in alongside your kind of Queen section and Siege Barracks, or even your Clan Castle troops as you progress through to the back end. That is to help keep all of your Super Witches into the core of the base. The Royal Champion is of course going to be bringing in those Electro Boots. Even after a nerf, they are still incredibly strong. Hog Rider Puppet also going to be coming in right there, and this one of course is going to be a 3-star. So we've got 2 more examples that we're going to be jumping in to take a look at, and honestly this strategy is incredibly powerful here at Townhall 16. So before we jump into the next one, I would love it if you guys could go ahead and leave a like on the video and subscribe to us here at the Barracks. We are pushing to try and get 500 subscribers, and it would be awesome if you could join us. But let's jump in and take a look at this second attack. So we're going to approach this in a very similar fashion, and in fact we're going to be looking again at the high value defenses we're going to be able to get. On this particular one we're going to be using a Yeti just to help with a little bit more funneling over here towards that right hand side. You do need to be careful though that your Grand Warden may have a tendency to follow the path of the Yeti, and he could potentially be pulled off to a section of the base you don't quite want him to go to. But regardless, we're still going to push on through, and you guys can see we're now going to be using those invisibility spells. 1, 2 and 3. Now the closest thing to the Grand Warden now is going to be the scatter shot right here. So we're going to fire that fireball, it's going to go all the way overhead, boom, and then we're going to use the double earthquake spell. Now we didn't quite get the double earthquake spell spot on because unfortunately we actually missed the multi-target inferno as well as the multi-archer tower, but it's not the end of the world. We still got loads of value and we took down that all important clan castle. If you can get that, it is really going to benefit you. But continuing on regardless, we're still looking to create that funnel. And again, actually, I say we're going to come in from a flat side. This time we're actually going to be coming in from a corner, but we had to be super careful here because things can go wrong. Just like they did there, the Royal Champion unfortunately picks off our Grand Warden, and this makes life very difficult for us because we don't have that Grand Warden helping our troops through with that rage. But regardless, we have created that funnel down here towards that bottom section of the base. Unfortunately, our Siege Barracks is popping slightly earlier than we were looking for, and on this particular one, you guys can see we are actually going to go ahead and bring in a jump spell. This means the King can then use his ability slightly more later on into the base. We're going to freeze up that scatter shot and the town hall right there. Queen's still doing a grand old job over there towards that right hand side. We still have 3 of our hero abilities, and like I said, when it comes to that Royal Champion portion of the base, typically you're going to want to bring her in slightly later on in the attack when you need to start cleaning up some of these defenses so our troops don't walk. Super Minions doing a great job there as well, and there is that all important earthquake boost from the King, opening up multiple back end compartments right here and allowing our Super Witches some really good access. Now when it comes to your spell usage with this strategy, you do want to use those rage spells not only on your main portion of the attack, but also on those healers. You want to make sure those healers are nice and raged up so they can bring all of your Super Witches, your heroes, whatever's in the core of the base right back up to full HP, especially when they're in the core, because that's when they're going to be taking the most amount of damage. Now we are unfortunately going to have to try and push through the monolith and this very daunting Tesla farm here on the back end, but we do still have that Royal Champion's ability in hand, those Electro Boots doing some really nice work as well. Queen continuing to push on through as well, and here it comes that Royal Champion. We're definitely going to be popping her ability to help us get through the monolith right here. It's going to be getting popped. Boom, there it is right there, and the Spirit Fox also helping out, just making our Royal Champion invisible and letting us finish this one off with a 3-star. So you'll see the Fireball of course got loads and loads of value, but we also managed to clear the base with that Grand Warden going down. So even if things don't go your way, you're still going to be able to pull in beautiful 3-stars just like this one. So if you guys did enjoy this strategy guide and you want to see more, like I said, make sure you subscribe to us here at the Barracks.